So we've left Britain, but Britain hasn't left us. That was the title I was kind of thinking about the last night. It's Sunday here in Kuala Lumpur, and normally I make a video going out into the city and having something to eat, but something else is kind of rumbling around a little bit in my mind, and I just wanted to share this. I don't have my phone with me. I don't have any notes, no prompts or anything, so I'm just going to tell you this, right? There's 3 topics that I want to cover in this. The first one is about a kind of status update on my wife Yvonne and her job situation back in the UK. Second one I want to mention briefly is just about utility companies. Posted a video some days ago about Scottish Power dealing with my dad's old house, his utilities with British Gas and Scottish Power. I made a video about Scottish Power, a bit of an update about that. And then the last part of this is actually just sharing a little bit about where I'm at mentally with the insurance claim. So those are the 3 topics, right? Now, for viewers that have been following this journey, the last 11 months to get here and leave the UK, will have seen me talk about my own redundancy, and then for Yvonne, my wife. Yvonne is on a sabbatical right now. We took that because I try and think ahead. I try and think long term, right? I try and think, what does a year down the line look like? What does 2 years down the line look like? And what does 5 years look like? And so when we were prepping out this plan to get out of the UK, Yvonne's been at the company she's been working at for I think about 8 years, right? Just off the top of my head, about 8 years. And we weren't sure what this move would be like, right? It's a big step for us to exit the UK, and we've made big steps in selling everything and handing back the keys to the property we were living in, we were renting in, and we relocated from England back to Scotland to drop off personal possessions. I worked through selling my dad's house. So we've made some really big steps, but we were also cautious about just a little bit of security, and that little bit of security was Yvonne taking a sabbatical from the job that she was in and not just leaving. The reason that we did that was because we could kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit with the company she's at. There's been a few rumours and a few murmurings and everything else going on. And so we took the decision, she took the decision, we'll take a year's sabbatical, and then if this all didn't work out for us, she would have a job to go back to in a year's time. And if it did work out, then we could deal with that down the line, right? Now, I've had some people that have said to me, oh, well, you aren't really committed to this, because if you were committed, you wouldn't have took that sabbatical. I think that's madness. I think you always try and give yourself something of a safety net, right? Now, we don't have a home in the UK. We have almost 0 possessions apart from absolute essentials in a locker in Glasgow, taken out on a year's contract. Beyond that, we don't have cars, we don't have anything, right? So we've done as much as we possibly could to exit. I've done my P85 form, which is saying that I'm not returning. Yvonne, however, hasn't yet, because she's on a sabbatical, and there are some tax parts to that we're trying to play carefully. Now, if in the end of this year she's not going back to a job, for example, then we'll be able to do that form and do it retroactively. But I'm out. As far as I'm concerned, I'm out. So I've done my documentation. Now, I've been in hospital and I've been going through a lot, and people ask me, like, how's Yvonne been in all of this? And I'm speaking just from her husband's perspective, not on behalf of her. But it has been wildly difficult for her to manage all of this, because we've came away with the idea of having a free mind for a year. And the reality of that has been so different, because right after she started the sabbatical, the company accidentally paid her too much money from her salary when she should have been getting paid nothing. And then they hounded her to get the money back. And she complied and paid the money, and they gave her wrong information and wrong advice and wrong ways to pay it back. And it took months to sort out, and she did that. And the minute it was paid back, she then got a call to say, you might be getting made redundant. How do you feel about that? And that just sent her off in another really challenging mindset. And then the redundancy turned into a toupee. So I'm not going to go into all of the details here because I've got to be mindful that people from our company might watch this, and I'm not naming the company. But see, over the last weeks, if not longer, she's had to join calls and answer emails on a daily basis. A daily basis. So whilst I was in hospital with sepsis and everything else, she was also having to sit there with her phone and answer work emails and messages and everything else. And a sabbatical, a year out of your career to go and relax and take time out, has turned into, she's effectively still working for the company but unpaid. And by working, I mean having to answer details about contracts and everything else. And so today is Sunday, right? And Monday, I don't know what the date is on Monday, I've lost track of dates, but I think it might be the 1st of December. She will officially have been two-paid over to a new company. So we're now having to look and try and find a UK lawyer, the one that I used in order to handle my redundancy when I was being let go from my business, to now step in and potentially help us with the discussions here. Because see, when she gets two-paid over on Monday and the terms and conditions start, they will not be favourable to somebody that's been in a company for like 8+ years. It's the absolute bare bones, because the new organisation are like, yeah, well, I'm just going to see these 68 people. Yvonne's been trying to communicate with them to say, guys, we need collective discussions here. We should be reaching out to ACAS, and they've all just been like, and now the penny is dropping. The penny is finally dropping for people. Some of them have been there for 20+ years. And they've all been like, oh, I'm sure everything will be fine. And now they're realising, oh, we might be getting done over here. So Monday, Yvonne will officially start working for a new company, even though she's on a year sabbatical. And I can tell you, I've read through some of the documentation. It is shocking, really shocking what they've said, what they've put in print, and how this has been handled so far. And the company that's letting them go is just like, on Friday, see you later guys, sorry about that. People in tears. Oh my God, I've worked here for 10 years, 20 years. They're just like, bye guys, sorry. Oh, we've messed up your wages. Oh, we've messed up your holiday entitlement. Sorry about that. You'll get it fixed when you get to the new place. And at the new place, people haven't received laptops. They've not received kit to start work. They're supposed to start work on Monday. They haven't received equipment. So they're like, oh my God, what does this mean? The penny is dropping. So the UK is still like, you know, you're out, and I try and tell it to you like reality, right? This is reality. We're away, and sometimes it's smiles and it's sunshine and it's happiness, and other times it's just like this looming weight of stress and pressure over the top of you. Because when you're out, we've left, we're gone, we've moved away. You're never out, right? So that's that. The energy companies, I've wrote to Scottish Power. They wrote back to me and said the bill is accurate, £240 or something for my dad's house. And when I questioned it, do you know what they said? It's standing charges. Even though the house was empty and consuming no electricity because everything was off, it's daily standing charges. And this is what they said to me: we won't investigate your complaint till after you've paid the bill. So I've paid the £240, whatever it was, £234. I've had to pay that to continue on the complaint. And see, the person handling the complaint, she's now sent me 5 emails with, please look at this document, no document attached. Please look at this document, no document attached. Here's the document, right? Have you looked at those emails? Yeah, and I've paid the bill under duress. And the only reason I've done that, right, people are like, why did you bother? Because out of pride for my dad kept an impeccable record of all of these things, and out of pride for my dad, I've paid it. But to go into a complaint, now, see, the next day after I posted the video about Scottish Power, I shit you not, I got a bill from British Gas. You just couldn't make it up, and that bill was for £180. So in total, it came to something like £440 for just standing charges. Now, I'm an executor, my brother's an executor, my sister is an executor. I had to reach out to them and say, look, you need to help me out here. I can't be responsible for all of this. My sister has stepped in and paid the British gas bill. We're having a complaint with them. But going back to the Scottish Power thing, they then wrote back to me, right, in emails and said, we'll investigate your complaint, but it'll take us 2 to 3 weeks to look into it. And I've just gone back and said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not accepting that. I started a countdown, a timer, like, I'm giving you 7 days. We're well into the 7 days now. And if I don't get a response within those 7 days, I'm going to the Ombudsman. Now, what is it I'm complaining about? Well, they have a duty of care through a bereavement to handle it well, right? Because I find the whole thing, the way they communicate with me, disgusting. Because my dad died, the house was empty. I notified you right on day one. And then when the house was sold, I notified you again and gave you meter readings, and you didn't close the account, you didn't handle it properly. And when they write to me, they just write my surname in block capitals. They don't say John or the executors on behalf of the late. They just say surname in block capitals, to surname. And I'm like, God. And then the contents of the emails are just shambolic. And I know it's just some, doesn't even look the name of the person. I don't even want to go into that. So I'm raising a complaint even though I've had to pay the bill. So it's cost us like 400 odd quid in standing charges for a house that was empty with everything turned off. Like there was nothing on in the house. They're just, it backs up the reason why I wanted out, right? It's just another element to all of that. So Yvonne's dealing with her toupee move on Monday, now a lawyer, now everything else, and the lawyer's like, I'm going to tell you, right, £300 an hour to talk to us about Yvonne's case. So why did they need to pay them over to another company? That's the questions that I ask myself, and I know the answer to that. It's to hand the responsibility of getting rid of people over to somebody else, a foreign company, to get rid of those people as cheaply as possible, because the business she works for are such scumbags that they're like, yeah, we don't want to handle this, we'll just pass it over to them. So why do you go through all this rigmarole, months of negotiations just to pat you off over there and then get rid of you? That just seems shameful to me. And then last but not least, right, the insurance conversation. Again, I was in hospital with sepsis, which is a life-threatening condition. And the whole way through it, I was reaching out to the insurance company and telling them everything that was going on. And you know, I never received a single response from them. And I've raised a complaint, an official complaint with a time parameter. All I'm doing is, I'm out here living in the sunshine, writing complaint letters back to the UK about how things are getting handled. And only just a couple of days ago did they finally respond. And they said, oh, we're sorry, we put your whole information chain into a completely different email bucket and we forgot to respond. That's a genuine part of this. And they've said, well, we'll get back to you in a couple of days. And on Friday, they got back to me and they were like, yeah, we're not quite ready to decide on all of this. So we'll get back to you in another couple of days. Now, in the meantime, there is an overarching time parameter attached to this. It was a 3-day window, then a 4-week window, then another 4-week window. That's how long it's got to go through before I can do anything more about it. So the 3-day window was missed. The 4-week window lapses this week coming, and then I've got to go another 4-week window before I can do anything officially about it. And I can tell you, like, if you know anything about watching me on this channel, right, hopefully I give you the vibes that I'm kind of on it in terms of details of things. And I can tell you when it comes to this, I am on it. And I've literally got hundreds of emails so far, not just from me, but from me to them, and from the underwriter who has acknowledged all this, but not the insurance company until Friday there. So all of that is just like, and the reason I'm using this is like, you leave the UK, but the UK hasn't left you. The insurance company is based in the UK. So Yvonne, Toupee, the two utility companies, which, you know, the hilarious part of that is I've worked for both of them. I worked for Scottish Power and I worked for British Gas. And I left both of them because I just hated it. I worked for Scottish Power for like 16 years, and I left because I was like, God, you're nothing but a number in here. And then I went to work for a company called Hive, which was part of British Gas, but at the time it sat as a completely separate entity, so I didn't feel like I was in British Gas. And then a few years into that job, it was re-amalgamated to British Gas, and at that point I was like, God, I want out of here. This is just, you know, you're just a number. You're not valued as an employee, you're just a number on a spreadsheet. And so I was out of that and moved off. And I've been offered jobs to go back to these kind of places, these big utility companies and all that, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. So we're out of the UK, but the UK isn't out of us. I went through that whole medical thing, right? And the whole time I was just carrying the weight of like, got to get better. And in the middle of all of that, just a huge chunk of your brain taken up by trying to keep documentation and getting billing and everything else, because these companies want you to fail. They want you to fail, they want you to give up. They try and reset the clock. They try and send, oh, you've not done this and you've not done that. All BS. I have done everything that has been asked of me at every step of the way, all documented, all priced up. And now they're like, we need to speak to your GP, and they've reached out to my GP and I've provided all the access, and I've seen what my GP has on record. I've seen it all. And now I'm waiting on a decision. Whilst that's it, out of pocket, trying to recover, and in the meantime trying to support my wife through all of this. So this isn't like a rant, it's just me, I'm passionate, right? I'm not mad. I'm Scottish, and passion runs in us. So I tell you all of this with passion. It gives me drive, it gives me focus. But I just want to say, like, see when people say, oh, it's easy, you've got the money, you've just done this and done that, and you've gone. None of this is easy. None of this is easy. You've not got kids, it's easy. Nonsense. Oh, well, you've got the money, you can just go. Nonsense. It takes drive, mental fortitude, willpower to make anything in life happen, not just leave a country, anything. It takes all of that. Fortitude. And at times, you will feel tested. Right? That's it. I would normally take you for a Sunday dinner today. I haven't got it in me. That's the long and short of it. I haven't got it in me. I'm going to sit in my apartment today and watch a movie with Yvonne, and I'm going to eat cup noodles at like £2 a pack. Because some days are just like that. I'm just going to de-stress my brain ahead of Monday for Yvonne, to support Yvonne, because tomorrow it will all start again for her. It will all come again, and it will be, you need to do this, you need to do that, there's been zero respect for, you're on a sabbatical, no problem, we'll pick this up when you get back. It's just been, no, you've got to comply, you've got to get this done, you give us your bank information, we're shipping your laptop, oh, you need to return this. She hasn't got it in return. Right, calling it quits and that's enough. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't stress about in the comments like, this is me just, I expunge it and then I get on with my day.